Hey there guys, what's up? It's Autobot Mike 18 here with another episode review. Guys, in this video I will be reviewing the newest episode of The Walking Dead. I actually just watched it about 20 minutes ago. I usually wait until after Talking Dead to film my Walking Dead reviews, guys, my episode reviews, but I really just didn't care for the guests that they had on the show tonight. I've never heard of them before, so I said, I'll skip it, maybe watch Talking Dead another night. Yeah, guys, so I just watched the newest episode. I was really looking forward to it, especially after last week's episode. Tonight's episode was called Season 4, Episode 3. It's called Isolation. And as I said, I was looking forward to it. As we all know, Season 4 just started 2 weeks ago, and I think I got off to an okay start. Pretty interesting. Decent start to the season. It wasn't anything mind-blowing or anything like that. Then with episode 2, I think things picked up a little bit. I think things got a bit more intense. Left a couple of unanswered questions last week, and I was really hooked into the show after. I was hooked back into season 4 with last week's episode. And I was very curious to see what they would do with tonight's episode. So guys, I'm going to give you my thoughts and everything like that. I'm going to review the episode. I want to try to make this video shorter because I actually have something very important to go do, so I'm not going to try to make this video too long. Now, a lot did happen on tonight's episode, but I'm not really going to discuss a lot because there was actually a lot of minor things going on in this episode, so I'm not going to discuss every single thing that happened. So yeah, guys, so obviously if you haven't watched the new episode yet, there's going to be spoilers throughout the whole video, so if you didn't watch the new episode, don't watch this. I'm going to spoil most of it. Come watch the episode, then come back and watch my review, guys. That would be awesome. So let's get right into tonight's episode, guys. As I said, the first thing I'm going to do is basically sum up the plot of the episode, talk about a couple things that happened, and then I'll give my thoughts a little bit later on and all that. So, with the end of last week's episode was pretty cool. What I really loved about last week's episode was how it introduced the two threats to the prison. One of them was a brand new threat to the prison. The other one was a threat that has been ongoing for a while, but it elevated last week. And one of the biggest threats was the thing with the swine flu going around, how Patrick spread it to that one cell block in the prison. And the other thing was the buildup of walkers around the prison gates. So that was pretty cool last week. And last week's episode ended with Tyrese finding the dead, burnt bodies of Karen and that other Woodbury guy, who I believe his name was David. So the episode literally picks up right where that left off, and Tyrese is just a mess. He's disgusted with what happened. As we all tell, he had started a relationship with Karen, obviously, and now he's hurt. He just lost someone that he was very close to for about 6 to 7 months. Started a loving relationship with her, and now to find her dead, burnt up body, he has no clue who did it. No one knows who did it yet. Quick little jumping ahead here, I'm very glad that they revealed who did it in this episode because I really didn't want them to keep us guessing. But anyway, I'll talk about who did it later on. So Tyrese is trying to get to the bottom of this. He's messed up. He's asking Rick and Daryl and Carol there. They're in that little place in the prison where Karen's dead, burnt corpses, and he's like, you got to find out who did this. He's absolutely disgusted. And Rick and Tyrese get into a little scuffle here at this point. And we all saw this in the trailers, and I seriously thought Tyrese was going to kick Rick's ass. Tyrese is a big guy, so I thought he was going to do some damage. But Rick put up a pretty good fight. I'm not going to lie. I was actually really impressed. Rick got a couple of pretty nice punches in. He really messed up Tyrese's face. So just goes to show you, don't mess with Rick, especially in times like this. But yeah, Tyrese got a couple jabs, and there was a pretty good fight, pretty intense. I really do like the opening scene. You could argue Tyrese was overdoing it, but I think that he was justified in doing that. He was really close to Karen. I mean, the only people he really has in this episode is Karen and Sasha. The only people close that he's really close to in the show is obviously his sister Sasha and Karen. He started a relationship with her. Of course, he's close with the rest of the prison, but not like he was with Karen and Sasha. Speaking of Sasha, this swine flu virus is really starting to spread. More and more starting to get infected. and it's starting to get worse. Most of the Woodbury citizens are infected, because they were in cell block D, and Patrick was the one who brought it into that cell block. So, Rick and the council, they're like, what, we gotta separate the healthy from the sick. This is getting worse. This is getting out of hand now. So they begin to put all the ones who are infected in this this ward somewhere in the prison, and they're keeping all the infected there. So they're basically isolating the healthy from the infected, and they're trying to keep all the kids together, including Carl and Judith and the other Woodbury kids. They're trying to keep them all together, and they're trying to keep them healthy, of course. And there's only a handful of characters that we've known from this whole entire show that are not infected yet. Rick's not infected yet. Herschel, Maggie, they're all not infected yet. Carol's not infected. Tyreese, Daryl, Michonne, and Bob Stookey. That's really it. And two other major characters get infected in this episode. One of them's a major character. The other one, sort of minor. And those two characters are Sasha and Glenn. And when I saw Glenn coughing, I'm like, oh no. And I know they're not going to kill Glenn off like this, because if they do, that'll be one of the worst deaths in a show ever, because that will be so unsatisfying and so disappointing to have to kill off a character like that, especially a character like Glenn. Glenn is a character we've all grown to know and love, but I know they're not going to kill off Glenn that way. But anyway, I know they won't. So Glenn and Sasha are among the other Woodbury citizens who are really starting to get sick, and they're placed in that ward. The doctor that the group has is sick. He's infected. He's got that swine flu thing that's going around. So they got to find some kind of medicine, some kind of antibiotics or something, to get this virus under control, because things are just starting to get way out of hand, and they got to do something about it. So Daryl and the rest of the council, they propose that they head over to this veterinarian college that and Herschel, I think, I forgot who suggested this, but Herschel's like, what, I bet you they have some antibiotics at this college. I bet you the whoever raided medicine stores and all that, whoever raided stores and everything, no one would think to look in a college for medicine and antibiotics. So it's a 50-mile trip, but Daryl's like, what, I gotta get out there, I gotta get this antibiotics, I gotta save these people, because this is just getting way out of hand. These people are gonna start to die. Some are just coughing up blood. So Daryl puts a team together. You got him, Michonne, and Bob Stookey as of the beginning of the episode. And meanwhile, Tyrese has the absolute worst day ever. He's burying Karen's body. Him and Rick make amends after their little fight, and Rick's like, what, I'm gonna find out who did this, and Tyrese is like, you better. He finds out Sasha gets sick, and Sasha's in that ward where they're keeping all the sick. So this is literally, this sucks for Tyrese. So he doesn't want to leave Sasha's side, but in the end, he decides to go on this journey with Daryl, Michonne, and Bob Stookey. And you have, they literally head out in this really cool car towards the end of the episode. Meanwhile, on the other first half of the episode, which I thought was kind of slow. I thought way too much was going on in the first half of the episode, in my opinion. I mean, you were just flipping from Rick to going around trying to find out what's going on, to Carol and the water supply and all that, to Carl and Herschel, to Maggie and Beth, and a few other characters, and you're like, wow, lots going on tonight. I think they were trying to cram too many scenes into one episode, in my opinion. I thought they were just going to focus on Daryl and the other, Daryl and that group, their mission to go to this college to get these antibiotics. But they really didn't do that until the end of the episode. I'll talk more about that in a second. But yeah, like I said, first half a little slow for me, a little bit too much going on. But a few important things did happen. I like that scene with Carl and Herschel. I thought that was pretty cool. Herschel's like, what, you become more responsible over the last few months, and I do like where they're going with Carl's character. Carl, he's walking around with a gun. Whether you trust him or not, let me know down below, guys. You trust Carl or not with a gun? You think he's gonna just pop? You think he's just gonna blow some guy's head off? If he thinks he's a zombie or something like that, he killed that kid in the end of last season. You think Carl is really suitable to be holding that gun? I think he is matured. I definitely have seen a change in Carl's character, so I like where they're going with that. And then you have this thing going on with Carol and the water supply. She angrily throws over this huge bucket of water, and you could tell something's going on with Carol, and I'll talk about what really happens with her at the end of the episode. It's revealed at the end of the episode what's really going on with Carol. So Carol gets herself into a jam out there. She's getting water, as we saw in the trailer for the Season 4, the Comic-Con trailer. Rick runs out there, picks off a few walkers, saves Carol, and you could just tell through this scene how dedicated Carol is to the prison, how she's getting water for all of them, even though she knocked over a huge, that huge bucket of water, huge pail, whatever you call it. And you can tell she is very dedicated to the group, and she will do anything it takes to, you know, get anything that she has to get for them, or to help protect any of them, or keep them healthy, or anything like that. She really does care for this group, and that's something I thought was pretty cool. And I really do like that scene. It was pretty intense, and I seriously thought Carol was going to die, though. I thought she was going to get bitten. I thought they were going to kill off a major character in this episode, but I was wrong. I have a feeling that it's coming, though. I have a feeling they're going to kill off a major character very shortly. I don't count Karen as a major character, but I have a feeling it's coming. So anyway, one other thing I want to mention before I get on to what's happening with Daryl and the others in the on their mission. Herschel goes into that infected ward. He wants to help the infected. You know, he has like the special tea made for them, and he's like, he gives that speech he made in the Season 4 trailer. You know what? You risk your life no matter what you do. And he's like, I'm gonna contribute the best that I can. And I'm like, Herschel, you fool! Don't do it. I was like, no, I don't want to lose you, Herschel. You're very valuable to this group. We can't afford to lose you. You know, I was watching the story sync, and then everyone was like, that's all right on the story sync. They were like, all right, let Herschel go in there. That's all right. No, we need Herschel. No. So yeah, I was a little shocked by that, but you could tell Herschel, you know, he really, again, kind of with what I was saying with Carol, he wants to really help this group in whatever way he can, and he feels, you know what, I'm not useful if I'm not going around trying to help these sick, but you know, I'll give him some tea. Why not? Can't just sit around here doing jack shit. So moving on, guys, finally the most exciting part of the episode, the part I couldn't wait to talk about, was the part with Daryl and you know, that mission to get the antibiotics from the college. They're on the road. Daryl sort of hears this transmission, and he doesn't hear the same one that we heard in the trailer, that woman saying survive. I forgot what she said, but he hears a different kind of transmission, so that was kind of like false advertising on the part of the trailer. I don't know, maybe we'll hear that later in Season 4. But anyway, they come across a whole bunch of walkers. Now, keep in mind, this is like a 50-mile trip to this college, so I guess they're almost there. But they come across like hundreds of walkers right near the college. You literally see a shot of the car, and it like pans, and you see all of the walkers. There's hundreds of them, and I think you can make out the college in the background. So the group, you know, tries to get out of this, and that scene was actually pretty cool. You know, Daryl's backing into walkers, and you know, he's running them over. So they're like, screw it, the car's stuck on this pile of walkers. So they're like, you know what, we got to get out of here. So Daryl gets out of the sunroof. They all get out of the car. Tyrese is like just hanging back. You know, he's really messed up in this episode. You know, with Karen, his sister, getting sick. He's got to get these antibiotics back to her in time before she dies. But I really do like this scene. It was very cool. They got a lot of really nice kills. Probably some of the best kills of Season 4 so far. Daryl got a couple of nice kills. Michonne got a couple of nice katana kills. Even Tyreese gets out of the car and starts whacking a whole bunch of walkers with his hammer. And what got me with this part of the episode, this thing really bothered me. And I noticed it in the trailer, and seeing it in tonight's episode, it bothered me again. Tyrese hitting all those walkers, you know, that whole big circle of them. There's like 30, there's literally like more than 30 walkers surrounding him, and not one of them bit him. And Daryl, Michonne, and Bob Stookey run into the woods, leaving Tyrese behind because he's like swarmed, and he gets out of it. He literally, you know, they're running deeper into the woods. Tyrese fights his way out of it, you know, and he comes back to them. He's got scratch marks, you know, his shirt's all ripped and everything, you know. There's blood on him. I don't think it was his blood. I think it was the blood of the, you know, the walkers. But he got out of that. Now, I'm sorry. I've mentioned this before in my Season 4 trailer review. Tyrese would have not made it out of that. I'm sorry, but there were walkers that were just standing there. They weren't even going after him. I'm sorry, but I don't buy that. So they run back off into the woods, and that's how that storyline ends. So you know they're going to continue that storyline in next week's episode, their mission to get these antibiotics back to the prison. And that's the end of that part of the episode. And finally, the last 10 minutes of the episode, Herschel's in that ward, and he's giving tea to the sick. And the doctor guy that got sick coughs on him and coughs blood on him. So Herschel just takes off the handkerchief that he's using to cover his face, just wipes the blood off him, and he's just walking around without covering his face, protecting his face. So Herschel's eventually going to get sick. He's right in the room in the exposed. He talks to Glenn. He's like, "Don't worry, Glenn. The one thing you got to do here is," I'm paraphrasing here, "you got to keep calm. You got to look forward to the next day that you'll get out of this alive. That you'll make it out of this, and you're not going to get infected or anything like that. You're not going to turn." So I like that moment between Herschel and Glenn, and obviously Glenn looks up to Herschel now, kind of as a father figure, really, when you think about it. And Herschel and Glenn have definitely grown a strong relationship. You remember back in season 2 when Herschel was just like, he was disgusted with Glenn and how Glenn was like running around with Maggie, but now how close those two characters have grown. And say if Glenn dies or if Herschel dies, how that effect that will have on the opposite character will just be monumental. But anyway, guys, and the very last scene in this episode that I really want to get into, I want to talk about, you have Rick standing outside, Carol is out there. As I mentioned earlier, they had that little adventure where Rick saved Carol, and she's walking with the buckets of water, and he was like, "That was a very stupid thing you did out there. You shouldn't have gone out there." And then he's like, "I know you'll do anything for this group." And then Carol's like not saying anything, and then he's like, "Carol, did you kill Tyrese? Tyrese, did you kill Karen and David?" And she's like, "Yes," and she walks away, and that's how the episode ends. So Carol burnt and killed why do I keep saying Tyrese? Karen and David. And that actually shocked me. I predicted Bob Stookey did it because, I don't know, something about that guy. Yeah, the problem with him and the alcohol in the first episode, the guy just, I don't know, I feel that something big is going to happen with his character. I don't know why I predicted Bob Stookey. I guess I predicted Bob Stookey did it because a lot of people have been saying Bob Stookey's a traitor or whatever, and, all that. So that's why I predicted Bob Stookey, but it was Carol, and I was shocked at that. And, little Carol ended up doing this. She killed both of them, and she lit them on fire. But you know what? She did it for a good reason. You can look at it as she did it for a good reason. They were infected. She wanted to stop the infection from spreading. So, she's very disgusted in this episode, really for two reasons. For one, for what she did. That's why she knocked over the water bucket. One, for what she did, killing Karen and, David, and she didn't say anything. She obviously lied to Tyrese because Tyrese is like, "Who the hell did this?" No one knows. Rick finds out in the end. And the other thing is she's mad that this thing is spreading. So when you think about it, is Carol going to be like, "Am I going to have to kill everyone that gets infected?" And she obviously can't. Half the prison is infected now. So you know what? I have to say I definitely like what they're doing with Carol. I was shocked that she was the one that did it. Carol has definitely stepped up in the last season or two. I mean, definitely this season she's stepped up. The end of last season she was stepping up, bit by bit. But this season she's really, she's showing us how strong a character is and how she'll do anything to protect this group, even if it meant to burn Karen and David. So you know what, guys? I really do like where they're going with Carol's side of the story. I mean, Carol's not that weak female character that we saw when the show first started. She was married to that abusive husband of hers, and one thing I think that has always toughened Carol up. I seriously think it was always what happened with Sophia, because it felt like after that Carol was just like, "Screw everyone, I'm gonna step up a bit," because that's around there, or beginning of season 3, that's when Carol really started to step up, in my opinion. I really do like what they're doing with her character. I was really appreciative of that. So anyway, guys, yeah, that's really it. That's really all I have to say about tonight's episode. Overall, I enjoyed it. It was probably better than the premiere. I don't know, something about the premiere. I just wasn't too fond of it. You know, it just wasn't as mind blowing as I thought it would be for a premiere. I don't know if this episode was better than last week's episode, because that episode I thought it was tense, and I really do like the emphasis on the characters, and that episode was kind of emotional and all that last week. But this week's episode, it was entertaining. I loved the scene in the woods with Stookey, Daryl, and Michonne, and Tyreese, and their journey to go to this college. I mean, I like when the group members make runs to go get supplies or medicines or anything like that. In this case, it's antibiotics. So I do like that. So anyway, guys, giving this episode a rating, I'm probably going to go 8.5 out of 10. My biggest problem with the episode was I felt that they were just jamming too many stories and too many scenes into one episode with different characters. I really just wanted them to focus on a couple of characters in this episode and show the others, you know, briefly. But I don't know. That was just something that took me out of this experience, the experience of the episode. And then the other thing, the first half, right after the Rick and Tyrese fight, felt a little slow for me, and then it picked up right about when Rick went to go save Carol and when Daryl and the group hit the road. So yeah, other than that, I enjoyed the episode, guys. It was somewhat intense. I feel probably the biggest problem is some of the writing in the first half. But other than that, the writing in the second half was pretty good. I like what they're doing with Carol. It was a pretty big twist. I did not see that coming, so I did like that. The episode was pretty well directed for the most part. And another thing, some of the kills, I really like some of the kills. I mean, it was class. You're seeing Daryl, like, literally, Daryl climbs out of the sunroof and he literally, like, takes his knife, throws it into a zombie's head, pulls it out, takes his crossbow out, and just shoots zombies. And Michonne just pulls out her katana and she's slicing heads, you know, chopping heads off. I mean, that's great. That's classic Walking Dead guts and gore that I really like to see. So anyway, guys, overall, I enjoyed the episode. 8.5 out of 10 for me. Just a little let down with a few things, but other than that, I enjoyed it. I had fun watching it, but I'm looking forward to next week's. I really want to see the continuation of the group's mission to go to the college, and I want to see what's going on with Rick and not Sophia, Carol, because it looks like they're also going on some sort of mission to get medicine or something like that. I have a feeling Herschel's going to get infected, obviously. He was coughed, blood got coughed on right in his face, and a few other things. I'm predicting a major character is going to die at some point. I've been saying Carol. I don't know why I've been saying Carol, but I have been. I just have that funny feeling that someone's going to die shortly. I doubt it's going to be Glenn, but if I had to pick anyone left, I would say maybe Carol. I don't know why. You know, it's like they're building her character up. They're making her character stronger. I have a feeling they're just going to, you know, shit on us, and they're going to kill off Carol at some point. You know, I know it's going to upset a lot of people. It's going to definitely upset Daryl, but what are you going to do? So, guys, yeah, I'm looking forward to next week's episode. Guys, let me know down below in the comments, what did you think of tonight's episode? Did you like it? Did you not like it? You think it was a little slow? Did you like the last half of it? I definitely liked the last half. And also, guys, let me know what you think is going to happen next week's episode, episode 4. I don't know the title yet. So anyway, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Bye, guys.